It's not very long. It's a really quick damn thing. So here comes the video. What's up, guys? It's Liquid from Liquid Decoded, Porch Pimpin', and all that other happy stuff. I'd like to say hello. Good Tuesday afternoon to you. We're out here in Toledo, Ohio at Infinite Vapor. And the reason why I'm here is I wanted to talk to a shop owner. I want to talk to somebody to get their side of you. You've been seeing a lot of shit that's been happening in the news and everything about the proposed flavor ban and how they're combining these problems that are happening, unfortunate events that are happening with people that are pretty much using black market THC cardos, and they're getting sick, and they're putting us all together with vaping, and they're saying that it's all vaping products and everything that are causing these issues, and it's not. I know a lot of people might think that how does this affect me? How does this affect my city? How does this affect my friends and family that possibly vape? Well, the thing is that this ban goes through and all this happens, you're pretty much creating a blacker market. I don't understand why this is going on, but what I see in the news media is you see a one-sided story. You see a story about how they're just telling you that all the bad things that happen with vaping, and they might say a little dinky thing about THC in the fifth or sixth paragraph, or if they say anything at all. And it seems like a lot of the news media that I've been seeing that where they're talking to vape shop owners or at vape shops, it's a bunch of young kids that are maybe they're not completely versed in what's going on. And if there is a vape shop owner that's even on the news, it's a 5-second snippet and they get cut up and chopped up and they really don't get their point across. So what I wanted to do to try to help out is I wanted to come to my local vape shop here at Infinite Vapor in Toledo, Ohio, and I wanted to talk to Jimmy Shearer. He is the owner, and get his points, get his views, say how it's affecting him and how things are going so far. I really, it's not really geared towards like the law and stuff. I just want people to see how this is hurting local business and what it's going to do to local business and what it's going to do to customers that are trying to quit smoking. A lot of us that are vapors now, we have our connections, we have our devices, and we're going to be pretty much set. But my main concern is the people that haven't decided to quit smoking yet, and this is an option that's going to be taken away from them if this happens, and they might just give up and just keep on smoking. So with that, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Jimmy Scheer. What's up, Jimmy? How you doing?
Yo, what's up, Dave?
I know this is kind of like a last minute thing. I called you up this morning. I said, hey, do you want to do this? But I can't think of another way. I'm not one of those people that have super deep pockets. And I know there's been a lot of people that have been, donating money and stuff to the, Vaping Militia and the Ohio Vape Trade Association, CASA, SAFADA. But I think the biggest thing that we need voices heard. And I couldn't think of a better way. There is no time restraint. You can say what you want when you want and how you want it. So I guess my first question would be this. What prompted you into opening a vape shop?
Honestly, I was a smoker, tobacco user for, I think, 34 years. My stepdaughter actually came over and had her device with some kind of fruit flavor in it, tried it, said, wow, this is awesome, and if this can get me off of smoking, it's worth a try. So we ran straight to one of our local vape stores, bought a CE3 with an Ego Pen, little 15 ml bottle of juice, and really that's what got me going. I cared about my health and everyone else's, and once I tried it, I knew that, oh my God, this is a life-saving technology. And shortly thereafter, we opened the shop. We opened in 2014. Started out with the most basic stuff. I'm definitely not the oldest vape store, in the United States for what that matters, but we've been around. We've saved, thousands of people, got them off of combustible cigarettes, and here we are. But with everything that's in the current market, what's going on with flavor bans, our 10-cent per mil tax goes into effect 1 week from today, which anybody that's watching, you're more than welcome. Next Tuesday, we will be down at the State House. You're more than welcome to come down with us. Our stores, both of them, will be closed. All of our employees will be going with us so that we can go down there and figure out what we can do to, start turning this stuff around and, get it in the right light.
Do you remember what flavor you got, like the very first flavor? Or
The first flavor that I think that I got that I enjoyed that really helped was a watermelon slushy, and then kiwi strawberry was one that I did for quite a long time. Tried a couple tobacco flavors, absolutely hated them. I mean, that's what it's getting ready to turn into. I believe Michigan and New York, who have both done their flavor bans. I think that both states are 7 days from all of their stores potentially being shut down. They're selling all their merchandise. And I think that, I know Michigan, I'm not sure on New York, but I know for sure, Michigan, they're going to tobacco only flavors. I think at this point, menthol is allowed, but I think they're
that's still up in the air. I'm not really sure about that either, because
yes.
you see part of these reports say no, it's tobacco only, no menthol, no anything. But I think Philip Morris is like, whoa,
they're changing it as they go.
Wait a second,
they're changing the rules. Really, they are. They're changing it to accommodate, what they're looking to do. And I mean, tobacco flavors. Not that I do have customers that use them. Really, yes, I do. But it's like 1 in 50 people that use them. It didn't work for me. And if it works for people, by all means, I'm for it. But my average customer doesn't like it. They don't vape it. A lot of this is trying to disassociate the two.
Mm-hmm.
If you're wanting to get off cigarettes, I tell people every day when they get started, that's the first thing that, people may look towards is, hey, I want a tobacco flavor, but you forget your vape at home or whatever it may be. It makes it that much easier to pick up a cigarette. And I think tobacco flavors are, I think it's the last thing that I want to sell to a customer that comes in, because I want to disassociate. I want the two to be split. I don't want you, vaping thinking cigarettes.
Mm-hmm. And then my thing is, I also seen how has all this stuff directly affected business for you, since this has all happened 5 weeks ago?
You're talking about the people getting sick.
Yeah, just the 5. Now I know we've been fighting the proposed laws and stuff since 2016, but I'm saying just this, because in my personal opinion, I feel that big tobacco, big pharma, and the FDA has been at our throats. And we were all playing in this pool, and we started arguing, and they weren't winning the argument, so they had to call Dad. So Daddy Trump comes in and he says, you know what, we're just gonna ban vaping altogether. And I think that's a knee-jerk reaction. Like if your kids are out in the pool and they're all fighting and screaming, what do you say? Everybody out of the damn pool. Nobody's gonna have fun anymore. So I'm just talking, just since we've started seeing these issues, supposedly,
it's scaring people. Really, it is, because the media is not giving correct information. Really, they aren't. They're still saying, headlines, vapor this, vapor that. They're not saying that, street-bought black market cartridges with vitamin E, which they know the CDC has already came out and said it. The FDA has made their own statements and said it. That's what the headlines need to say. They just should not be scaring customers away, because, they're just driving people back to smoking traditional cigarettes, which we know kill 500,000 Americans a year, which is 1,300 people. Hey, 1,300 people. What is it?
A day.
A day, which that almost equates to one person every minute that's dying from smoking-related illnesses.
That's insane. And the thing that really upsets me is, there's a gentleman that spoke to his state. And I believe he owns Mr. E Liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought up a great point. He said, all of the regulations and everything that you've put into place, we have done. You told us that we had to submit our SKUs. We submitted our SKUs. You told us that we had to say what the flavors are that we're using, all of our ingredients, even as far as the ingredients that made the bottles and the labels. We have jumped through every single hoop that you've asked us to do by banning all these flavors. And he said that it was going to take away 85% of his market. He has 80 or 85 people that work for him. He's going to have to let them go. But once they do this, if this does happen, you've taken all them restrictions away, because the black market isn't going to still follow all these rules and regulations. So it's going to be anybody putting anything anywhere just to make a profit. And I know you've done it. You've followed all the rules, all the regulations that you had to do, and you make sure that you card everybody that comes in here. You make sure that the product that you bring into the shop, and there's a bunch of products that are in here, that, they do have their QR codes, and they do have, the labeling is proper. They have 30% of the label that says that this product may contain nicotine, even though it doesn't. Even at 0 milligrams, it still has to say this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, and it's on all the bottle. Everything here has everything that they've asked us to do. I don't understand what else they want manufacturers and people like you that own business. What else do they like? What do you see their end game? What's the end game? Like, I don't understand.
Go back to smoking.
Well, see, and that's what I think
they want. They're losing money, from tax revenues, their master settlement agreements. They're just flat out losing money. I mean, anybody that's been following this can see how ridiculous it is. I mean, they're talking about doing flavor bans in almost every state in the country over something that has absolutely nothing to do with us. I mean, kids are, buying crap off the street that's getting them sick. It isn't nicotine. It isn't what we sell, but it's being portrayed as, that it's us that's doing this. Not that I don't think that there's a problems with juveniles getting their hands on it. I mean, it's happening. They're buying them at gas stations and carryouts, but the average kid can't afford what I sell. They can't. I mean, my average setup for something, you're into $150 or $200. These kids are out there running around with, small devices. I'm not necessarily going to say what devices. Everybody knows what they are, but
I think it rhymes with Juul is what I think it rhymes. And I'm not afraid to say it because I know who owns Juul.
Yes.
And I understand that Juul has taken all their flavors off the market like 3 years ago.
But you can still purchase them directly through Juul.
Exactly. And that's the next point that everybody's saying this. There's no way to regulate it to the point where we can't sell this stuff online. I'm like, that's complete bullshit. You can take the online sales away, make it a brick and mortar shop where you have to come in, prove your ID, and then, get your product that you need.
I think they should be on the carryouts.
But see, I don't understand why are we holding you, the shop owner, responsible for what happens to the devices and liquid when it walks out the door, when we don't do the same thing to liquor stores? We don't do the same thing to doctors for prescription medication. We don't do the same thing that, kids are, parents are buying their kids Happy Meals left and right. And we got the most obese freaking child rate in the world. Like, we don't hold them accountable, but we're going to say, okay, just vaping. We're just going to start vaping. And it doesn't calculate to me. But
we don't make them the money.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's a drop in the bucket compared to the money that they're getting from big tobacco. Because if you're smoking, you're getting sick, you're going to the doctor, you're getting your medications, you're on those medications. Those medications give you side effects, so you go back to the doctor to get on more medications to fight the side effects from the first medication. Follow the money. And I've been telling people that for years. Follow the money. This is why we're having the problems that we're having. I don't understand how all of a sudden in 5 weeks people are dropping dead and getting sick. I know you've been vaping for a long time. I've been vaping. June 6th will be my 12-year anniversary. I've never had an upper respiratory infection. I've never
felt better.
Exactly.
Since I quit smoking, period. My food tastes better, your breath, your hair, your car, your house. I mean, everything about it. I just, myself personally, it has helped me in ways that I would have never imagined when I first picked up that first CE3 tank with an Ego pen. I never realized we would be where we're at today.
Now, what do you think about the proponents that say, well, we thought smoking was okay, and then we found out in 30 years that smoking was bad for us? Like, I don't know if you've heard that. Like, that's like one of the big fights.
My opinion, I mean, obviously anything that you're putting into your lungs that isn't oxygen isn't good for you. Vaping is about harm reduction. We're not claiming that this is the be-all, save-all, end-all of, everything, but really it comes down to harm reduction. I mean, you go across the seas to UK, and they're putting on vape shops in hospitals.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you heard, I think it was last night or the night before last, India has now banned vaping. Like, all vaping.
Did that go through, or they're just talking about it?
I heard that was the proposal. I don't know if it went through or not, but they're talking about
based off what's happening here in the United States.
Yes, sir. And they're saying manufacturing, distribution, sales, like everything is completely done. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, didn't they say there's like millions of kids over there that are already smoking cigarettes?
Yes.
But they're trying to ban a technology that's 95% less harmful than a traditional cigarette. I mean, come on. That's the biggest problem that I have with all this is if you're trying to save the children, why aren't you banning smoking? Why aren't you banning cigarettes? Like, why are you just sticking with vaping? That's the biggest thing that comes to my mind.
Camel's cigarettes, I don't know if you've seen or not, they have a black and white package now that you can color it in yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't know of a lot of adults that color.
Right.
That boggles my mind. Why is there still 20 or 30 different flavors of 3 Olive vodka and Pinnacle vodka? Including birthday cake, Fruit Loops, Mountain Dew. Those are geared towards children as well. If you look at the labels,
much geared towards children. They're making the vape market about the save the kids. The flavors for adults. I mean, liquor, alcohol, all that stuff is not. In my opinion, it's not supposed to be marketed to kids. It's marketed to an adult. That kids cannot go into the carryout and buy a 12-pack of beer. They cannot go in and buy that liquor. They have to have that friend that's 21 years old, or the carryout owner that doesn't care, or they're stealing from the parents, or parents that are buying it. I don't think any of this. Do I think that there was some questionable marketing on our packaging? Absolutely. At one point.
And you're the one that brought it up. You were one of the first people to bring up the packaging.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
When I came through, I think the last time I actually did a show here was it your 2-year anniversary?
It was.
It was your 2, and I came up from Texas, and you were talking about the packaging. If anybody wants to go way back and dig through the archives, you can see it. But and we followed suit. We said, okay, we understand that, and a lot of the reputable companies changed their packaging.
Yes.
We changed the caps to child safety caps, and to the point where half of them you couldn't even get open yourself.
Right.
So they did all the regulations. We've jumped through every single hoop, and that's the thing I don't understand. It's like, how many more hoops you want us to jump through? I don't
think it's going to matter. They're going to keep putting obstacles in front of us, just like you said from the front, from get-go. The manufacturers have all submitted their flavorings, their recipes, everything that goes in it. It's all submitted to the FDA. But now they're like Michigan, for instance. They're just flat out putting how many stores? I think they said 700 stores up there that are going to probably be dead in the water. And
because we can go back, we can appeal it in 6 months. But how's these shops going to stay open for 6 months?
They're not.
It's impossible.
You may have 10% of them that may hold on somehow and keep their store open, and I think I'm probably being generous with that estimate. But I mean, we're getting calls right now from Michigan stores that are wanting to sell us their inventory because they may have how many thousands upon $1,000 of merchandise that they had 14 days to get out of their store. I mean, it's impossible. I mean, you got $100,000 in merchandise and you're turning whatever it may be, $10,000, $20,000 a week. Now you've got over half of your merchandise that you can no longer sell. So they're reaching out to stores in Ohio and I'm sure other states, trying to offload their products because there's no way possible, even at 50% on the dollar, that I'm sure a bunch of them are just dumping their stuff off. There's not enough people that are going to buy that in 14 days.
And I don't understand the big thing with Michigan either is that they want to do this, and what's going to happen is these shops are going to close. And the people that work at those shops are going to be put on the system until they find another job. And I don't know if you've been in Michigan lately, ladies and gentlemen, jobs are not aplenty. And so now you're going to have more people on an already stressed system. And then what? To what end? Like you already have a stress. Here's the thing. I would like to know, I wish to God somebody could give me a number. I would like to see how much that these companies have spent on combating vaping. Like since it started, I would love to see the number because Flint's water isn't even right. I mean, if you really want to worry about the children, how about we make the water drinkable?
I mean, I definitely agree with, I don't want to see the kid, any of the kids with this stuff. And we ID people every day, and I turn away people, if you're not of age or, you were never a smoker and you're just trying to do it for whatever, we've turned people away for that. We want the people that want to get off cigarettes, that need to get off cigarettes. 50% of the people that smoke, that continue to smoke, are going to die from smoking-related illnesses. Mm-hmm. We don't want your kids. I will look you dead in the face. We don't want your kids. We want the adults.
And I've seen it as far, too, as I've seen people come in here and try to buy products, and you find out they're buying it for their children, and you tell them that you're not going to
refuse to sell.
Absolutely. So, you're even going further. You're even taking steps further than what's asked of you.
We've been like that since day one, though. We just... Not that I want to say we want the adults, but the adults that want to get off smoking, that's who we want to help. And at the end of the day, it's personal choices. You walk through the door because you smoked. Smoking was a personal choice that you have to deal with now. And if you make your way in here and you're sincere and that's what you want to do, that's what we're here for. I mean, we're not one of them uppity sell places that try to stuff down your throat. We try to help you if you have an issue, and we don't try to sell you because we got something new. We sell it to you when you need it. We don't upsell. That's just not who we are or what we do.
And one of the biggest things that I really like about your shop and some other shops that I visited is that you don't just sell them. They come in and say that they want this. You don't grab it off the shelf, sell it to them, and then tell them, have a nice day. Everybody that has ever, that works here is very knowledgeable. They want to talk you through it and find out what it is. You may come into the shop thinking you know what you need, but after a little bit of conversation, you find out, okay, well, that's not just because Fred has it doesn't mean that's the same thing that I need. Right. I like the fact that you take time and you try to go through and find out what they need and find out, how many packs a day are you smoking? What are you trying to do? What's your end game? So you're not just giving them, well, here's a Juul at 50 Nick, and sending them out the door. And that's the thing, another thing, it leads into another one of my biggest issues is, one of the biggest things they're saying is that the kids are vaping these flavors because they like the flavors. But all the kids that I've talked to at my son's school, they're vaping the Juul pods because of the buzz. It's not because of the flavor. So you can go ahead and ban all the flavors you want. They'll still vape the tobacco because it's the buzz that they're looking for.
And now they're going to be buying stuff from the kid that's making it in his bedroom and someplace that's not a controlled environment. Neither of which I agree with regardless. But I mean, even the adults. I mean, do you think for a second if they ban flavors that adults aren't going to reach out and try to figure out a way to make this? And now that is even more unsafe than, coming in and buying from these places that are making ISO certified labs. This stuff is done right. Their bottles have been cleaned and they're right, versus just some random kid that goes onto some website, or even an adult for that matter, that goes onto a website and buys the flavoring, the VG, the PG, the nicotine and all that stuff. But, they're just going to create a black market. I mean, it's already here. It's been here. There's been people that are mixing. You can go to eBay right now. This is one of my biggest gripes, one of my biggest bitches right now. And again, I'm not going to say the brands that I'm seeing on there because it's not the companies that are doing it. It's other people. Mm-hmm. But right now, I can go onto eBay right now, get on there, order Salt Nick with absolutely no age verification process. How in the hell is this even possible?
Exactly. And I also heard that they have bought some Juul products at gas stations and found out that those are counterfeit even, that are being sold at the gas stations. That's the biggest problem I have with these closed pod systems. Mm-hmm. You don't know what's in it.
I get email almost every day from Chinese manufacturers saying, oh, you sell Juul, we have chargers, we have Juul pods, we have this, we have that. It's all counterfeit. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what's going into it. And I'm sure, just like anything else, there's stores that are buying it because they're getting it for 50 cents on the dollar, whatever the cost may be. I mean, I don't even entertain the thought of it. I don't sell Juul. I don't sell anything like that. But a lot of places do. And, now they're buying stuff from China and you really don't know what you're getting. There's not the same regulations in China as there is in the United States. So the liquid, who knows?
See, and I think that's one of the biggest problems. But they're saying that Juul's complying. That's the biggest thing. And then now you see like this new little dryer vaporizer that just came out. Philip Morris just brought out.
Those are $100.
Yeah,
or more.
And did you see the label that says FDA approved?
Well, they are. They got FDA approval. They have the money to push it through. But I don't know about you, but I've tried a couple different dry herb tobacco type vaporizers, and they're trash.
They're horrible.
I mean, if it works, great. I mean, I'm not going to condemn them if it's a product that's actually going to help somebody get off of smoking, but I have no faith in that product.
No, because it's what you're putting into that dry herb vaporizer that already has.
Cigarette.
Exactly. It's still tobacco. It still has all the chemicals and everything in it, and you're still ingesting it. Even though it's not combustible, you're still ingesting all that shit, and you can't tell me that that's a safer alternative than vaping. The propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin is the same catalyst that's in your albuterol treatments for breathing treatments.
It's in aspirin. It's in soda pops. Mm-hmm. It's in stuff that people use every single day. Ingest or topicals like hand lotions and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean it's ridiculous what they're doing. Really, it is. And so far, Ohio hasn't pushed that through, but we have a week before our 10 cent per mil tax goes into effect, and we're just shy of 3 weeks before the 21 to purchase tobacco products go into effect. Which, I'm not against the age thing. Do I feel like it's somewhat ridiculous. I mean, I started smoking at 13 years old, and I'm sure there's other kids that did the same, and the 18 to 20-year-olds. So what are they going to do?
Well, so you can be 18 to go fight for your country and die for your country, but you got to be
vote
21.
For the politicians that are putting us out of business, like you said, military, voting. I mean, there's a lot of things that they consider you an adult at 18. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple states, and I'm not even sure if it's on a federal level or state level, that are trying to make it where you're 16 years old to be able to vote. But yet you can't make a decision on what you want to put into your body. I mean, come on.
Now, you keep saying the 10-cent a mil tax, and I don't want to breeze over that. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's an extra 10 cents for a bottle of juice. Break that down for us.
10 cents per mil. So that's going to make your 120 mils go up $12, 100 mils up $10, 66, 33, so on and so forth. Essentially, it's going to double the price of our retail products.
Now, who's responsible for that 10 cents to collect that 10 cents a mil?
Our vendors are. Out-of-state vendors, or even in-state for what it matters, have to register with the state of Ohio. They have to pay a licensing fee, and they charge us the tax, and then I believe on the 24th or 23rd of every month they have to submit it to the state of Ohio. So we may even lose vendors that way because they just don't want to have to deal with sending the tax money into the state of Ohio.
Because now there's a separate little portion of that company that's going to have to be dedicated to registering all these, like, what did Jimmy buy?
Yes.
And then they have to have a paper trail for that. And how much more is that going to cost? So Just that 10 cent a mil tax is just not 10 cents a mil. Because now they're going to have
side. I don't think that it affects online sales. Not that I'm, obviously trying to promote, hey, go online and skip over us. I mean, you're just going to cut our throat. But I don't think that affects online sales because they can't stop interstate commerce of products coming in. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure there's somebody that is a little more knowledgeable on it. But again, now you're just going to have people that are buying it from their buddy in Indiana that says, "Yo, dude, 10 cents per mil. Can you get me a couple bottles of juice and just send it to me?" They can't stop that. They're not going to.
Well, I think the biggest thing I'm trying to get across is it's just not the 10 cents a mil, because now I said these companies are going to have several, depending on how big the company is, they're going to have several people in a different department that is going to have to be responsible for that. So now we're going to have to pay those people to do that. So if you think it's just going to be a 10 cent hike, it's going to be, more than that, because they have to pay for those people to work every day, and they have to pay for their unemployment and their workers' compensation. And, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into just 10 cents a mil.
If I'm not mistaken, right now at 10 cents per mil, we have the highest liquid tax in the United States currently that I'm aware of.
And that's I don't understand that, and that's the thing, with tobacco and with, alcohol, that's the sin tax. So supposedly that money's supposed to be fix our streets and our schools. I don't, I know you and I drive around here, and these guys drive around here every day. Our streets are not being fixed. Our schools are not being repaired. I would like to know where the hell that money's going to. You got places like New York that gets over $1 billion a year for their tobacco, the MSA. Why do you think they want us to smoke? It's because they don't want to lose that $1 billion. I mean, that money goes towards, supposedly supposed to be going, they should have the greatest schools in the country. They don't,
If I'm not wrong, I read something the other day that Ohio has only put 0.5% of that money towards what it was supposed to be brought to, whether it's going into the schools and giving them, information on tobacco, what it does to your lungs, what it does to your body, amongst several other things. But if I'm not mistaken, they're using the smallest fraction you could ever imagine for what the money's supposed to be used for. And like you said, where is it going? Yeah, nobody knows.
Another thing that I've been seeing on late night TV and stuff is I've been seeing these vaping ads where it's got these kids in the locker room, changing for gym and stuff, and they got these nasty looking, things that are crawling through their veins and stuff. That's a parasite, and it's saying how much of it's a parasite. And then, they're banning it, or they're clombing us all in with the illegal THC cardos, and it's all, false news, as so to speak. But there's no retribution for that. Like, why isn't there defamation of character suits being, thrown out? And why aren't people? It's coming. I hope so. I hope it does come, because you can't just go out and say some stuff like that.
The problem is the damage is done, regardless of whether these guys have to pay money out of their pockets for the misinformation that they've spread through the media. Damage is done. Not many of them have retracted their statements after they did it. They just bowling ball right over the top of it and keep steamrolling forward without saying, hey, we made a mistake. This isn't the vape shops. This is stuff that's being bought off the street that are getting people sick. Some news outlets have done it. Again, CDC, FDA have both, said, hey, a lot of these instances have happened. It's THC cartridges with vitamin E in it. It isn't the THC. It's the cutting agent.
Yeah, and I think it's really funny that you have all these other countries that are laughing at us right now for what's going on with vaping. Like you said, the UK, they have vape shops in their hospitals because they see that it's a healthier alternative. It's a safer alternative. And like Jimmy said, nobody's saying that this is 100% safe. You're putting something in your lungs that isn't supposed to be there. But with that being said, they're not trying to ban, cigarettes. They're not trying to ban, now I seen a new thing out where it's like, you don't have to vape no more. You can just spray a mist inside your mouth for your nicotine delivery system. What makes you think that these Tide Pod kids are not going to pull the top off of that and drink it? Like you said, you can go and buy your nicotine and you can add it to your stuff if you're going to make your own. What makes you think that these kids aren't going to take that straight nicotine, put it on their coils, and be like, dude, bro, I dare you to vape this? And with that, people aren't going to be getting sick. Kids are going to die.
In my opinion, it's a huge risk to have people out there that have no idea what they're doing, touching nicotine at home.
And that's the problem. You are causing a black market. You're by doing this, you're going to cause more people to get hurt. You're going to cause more people to die, and you are creating, humongous lawsuits based on negligence. Because we went through this with the battery phase. If you remember the battery phase, we had the whole battery phase where, oh my God, my mod blew up in my hand. No, your battery blew up in your pocket because you had your keys and your change in it, or you were building at a 0.0 stupid and you blew your face off. Like that's the thing. But we fought all that, and I think we did well. I mean, up until 5 weeks ago, I think we were doing pretty good. But like I said, they got mad. They called Dad. Now Dad's had to send out his little, because he's a tweet monster. And which really pisses me off, because this, Trump has said, don't listen to fake news. Do your research and you'll find out that the stuff that they're saying about me is fake. But yet he does the same knee-jerk reaction as he's telling everybody not to do. So he just became the person that he hates the most by believing fake news. And then puts another tweet out at midnight. Okay, well, maybe not all vaping is bad, but we really need to save the kids. Well, I understand that. I agree that we do. We need to keep this out of kids' hands, but it's not going to stop a parent that would rather have their kids vape than smoke to come in here, buy this product, and take it to their house. Are we supposed to go to their house and we're supposed to do checkups? So you have to have 35, 40 other people go through your customer list and go check on their house every day to make sure that their kids aren't vaping? Like I said, they're holding you responsible for something.
As an adult, as a parent, when I was a kid, I did something wrong. I got my butt paddled, and, parents had to deal with it. You did something wrong. Parents, you should know what your kids are doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, my mom went through my stuff. My mom went through my drawers. I mean, up until I was done with high school, she was still searching through my car, looking for stuff and finding stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, you should know what your kids are doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We throw a tablet or a phone or video games or something in front of our kids, and they're like, oh, well, they're quiet. But what are they downloading? What are they watching? What are they doing? And
technologies came so far. It's hard to, not that I'm thinking, the kids that are getting the jewels or like you said, online surfing, you don't know what they're doing. The stuff is small. They're able to hide it. It's discreet. Again, you need to figure out where it's coming from. Who they getting it from? Are they getting it from friends? Is it an 18-year-old that's graduated or getting ready to graduate that's going into the stores and buying it, or, whatever? You need to figure out the source. You can't just ball us all into one thing when you know that, the majority of the people that are buying that type of stuff are getting out of gas stations and carryouts. They're not getting it from us.
And I'll be the first person to say too, like with the THC cardos and stuff like that, I think there is a place for that. People do use, marijuana, and we have a lot of states that are legalizing marijuana for medicinal and for recreational use. But I have, it really bugs me that these kids are buying these, black market THC cardos for the same price, if not more, than if you just went to a dispensary. And I think it's extra crappy that the parents themselves are buying the same cardos. I know a lot of parents will be like, well, I got this one for my kid and it tastes amazing, blah, 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 blah. Well, where did they get it from? You have no clue. There's no QR code. There's no traceability. There's no nothing. And, you can go, you used to be able to go onto I'm losing my freaking mind. Amazon, and get the little dank, packaging and the tanks and everything, and you get them empty. You can fill them with whatever you want. Since all this has happened, they say that they've taken that down. But I found it under children's books. I found it under incense.
Because they're hiding it.
Yeah.
That's the people that are selling it are hiding it the same way that the liquid that I was finding on eBay was under health and beauty. And by the way, I've been reporting all them, as should everybody else that's looking that cares about the vape market. We shared something yesterday on our page, which is giving the year-to-date FDA inspections total for the U.S. and Ohio. We won't go countrywide, but in Ohio, total of failed sales were 177. Ohio vape shop fails, there were only 3 of the 177, which means that it's coming from gas station carryouts and that type of place. And out of the 3 places in Ohio, the shops that failed, one of them had 2 failures. So out of 3, there's 2 shops in Ohio that made the mistake of selling to an underage. And out of 3, 2 of the 3 were one same shop. So they're not getting their stuff from us.
No. And that's the thing, that I don't like. I don't like they're putting this all together. Do I think that black market cardo should be outlawed? Abso-fucking-lutely.
They can't stop it is the problem.
But why sit here? That's like saying that you went to Kroger and you bought.
It's in illegal states too that don't have legal cannabis.
That is true. But like I said, saying what they're saying about us is like going to Kroger, buying some potato salad that had salmonella, and we're going to ban peanut butter. Like, that's how much sense that makes to me. It makes no sense whatsoever that you're going to take something that has quantifiable proof showing that the harm reduction is greatly reduced. Nobody's having these issues that they're having from traditional vaping up until 5 weeks ago.
These people at state and federal levels that are still spewing out the same stuff, saying that it's vaping. Okay, yes, they are vaping a cannabis cartridge, but there's got to be somewhere where there's a division between the two. If you want to say vaping something, if we're a, electronic cigarettes or nicotine delivery system, however you want to sell it, the people that are getting sick, maybe they should start saying e-cannabis, e-joint, whatever they need to say to let people know it's not the vape stores that people are getting sick from their products. It's something else. But we all know that they have their agenda, and their agenda doesn't fall at the point where they're going to admit that, hey, it's not vaping traditional e-cigarettes. They don't care because they want the money. It's all about the blood money. That's right. That's what it's about. And
that's the thing. But then they want to throw the kid word in it because that's how we get the knee-jerk reaction. And I think a lot of these reports too will say that it may have been an illegal black market THC cardo, but it's in the 5th or 6th paragraph down. And as well as I do, people read the headline, they make their decision, and that's it. Yes. And that's the problem. And with that being said, I think that a lot of people do need to stand up. They need to sign these petitions and share these petitions, and get the word out. Call the White House. Let them know. Well, Monday through Friday between 8 and 4. Don't call before or after that because nothing's happening.
But at the end of the day, we need to hear from consumers, not just shop owners. I mean, people that are vaping, and that's the hardest thing to do, is to get the consumers engaged until this is pulled out from under the rugs, pulled out from underneath our feet, and then people are all in an uproar that, oh my God, we can't get this. What can we do? Now is when we need you. We need you now. We need you to keep soliciting the businesses and helping the vape stores, because right now, I'm sure it's more than this, but James Jarvis, who is the president of the Ohio Vape Trade Association, put up a post the other day and said off the top of his head, he knows of 11 stores in Ohio that have already closed, and I'm sure there's more, and they're falling every day nationwide, and they're putting a lot of people out of work. They're also sending people back to smoking combustible cigarettes. Again, 500,000 people a year in the United States alone are dying from smoking-related illnesses. And again, if you do the math, it's almost one person every minute. It's just shy. If there's 1,300 people a week, I believe if I did the math, it's like 1,400 minutes, and after I broke it all down, it's almost one person every minute that's dying from smoking related illnesses.
And that's what I've been saying for the longest time too, especially when all this stuff happened, is the vape shop owners have been here for us to help us. It's our turn to be here for the vape shop owners. You guys need us more than anything. That's why when I came in last week, I'm like, I can't believe there isn't a line out the door to support you. Why aren't they here? Just buy a bottle of juice. Just
everybody's scared.
Come show your support.
People are scared. Although we can sit and talk until our face turns blue and explain what's going on. I've lost a lot of customers to bad media and how they're presenting it, and people are not coming in. I mean, obviously we're still in business. We're still here for how long? who knows? But at this point, 25% of my business has fallen off, and it may even be more than that between the two stores that we've dropped off since this happened, because people are afraid that they're going to come in here and buy a product that's going to make them sick when it isn't us. It's people buying something off the street. Imagine once all the stores close, and this is being made behind closed doors in some place that's not, submitted their stuff to the FDA. What's going to happen? There's going to be more and more and more people sick.
Don't you think it's really weird that all these companies had to submit their ingredients, submit their percentages, submit their recipes, submit everything. Then they banned vaping. Do you think that now you're going to see Philip Morris and everybody come out with the same flavors? Because they have it now. They have all the recipes. They have the percentages. They know where it's coming from. Like, I was worried about that. I'm like, maybe they just didn't know how to come up with a good flavor. So they're like, well, let's just take all the popular flavors and now we know how to make them.
They never thought what is happening right now was going to happen. They thought that vaping was a joke. Mm-hmm. That we were not going to be able to do it. Right now, we're at, in history, the lowest smoking rates in history right now.
Yep.
So obviously what we're doing is working. It's hurting their pockets, and that's what it comes down to. The states want that MSA money back. A
lot of those states have borrowed ahead of time on that money, too.
Yes, and borrowed and bought tobacco stocks, which the tobacco stocks are worth absolutely nothing. What they say, I think it's 5 years before they finally default. Or maybe it was 2014 they were expected to default. Don't quote me on the exact dates, but I know that the tobacco stocks are worth nothing. They are dead in the water, and they're borrowing against money that they didn't even have. If I'm not mistaken, the state of Ohio, the money that they borrowed was like $3 million, and they're expected to pay $63 million back.
That's a huge jump. That's right. A huge jump.
They were expecting them bonds to go through the roof. They never, ever expected that people were ever going to stop smoking. They figured from now until the end of the world, people were going to smoke. They were going to make their money. And suddenly, now that vaping came in, we're getting people off of combustible cigarettes. Their sales are crashing. They're plummeting.
Bet you they wish they would have took that patent and actually did something with it in 1964.
Yep. They never expected it to do what it did.
No, and that's the thing I try to tell a lot of people too, is like, if you look at all the money that they're spending on just battling us and beating us into the ground, you have to understand they wouldn't have done that if they didn't think that this was working. The only reason why they're fighting us because this works. This gets you off smoking. I remember the very first flavor I tried, I was a beta tester for Blue with little 808s. And, the first hit you take was amazing. The second hit wasn't as good. The third hit, you got juice in your mouth. It was kind of fucked up the way that they made it. But the first flavor I had was black cherry. That was the first flavor that I got from Blue that when I was beta testing was black cherry. And then when I went over to, and I found Halo was the very first online company. I ordered my first Halo kit. And the flavor I got from them was that super
menthol.
Super menthol. I can't think of the name of it. And then Kringle's Curse. So Kringle's Curse is a peppermint. It's a peppermint candy cane. It tastes like candy cane. I do have
for the flavors. What about Chantix?
Exactly.
That's all within reach of the kids. I mean, Chantix has however many flavors, and that's known to make people suicidal, homicidal, blah, 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 which all that stuff used to be on their packaging, and somehow the FDA allowed them to take that off their packaging, that it was causing people to have other issues.
And look
Why is that?
Camel Crush cigarettes. You have the Camel Crush cigarettes that, you can crush that little ball and then you get a peppermint flavor or whatever. There's a different flavor in that, but nobody's talking, anything about that. Freaking Coca-Cola. How many different flavors of Coca-Cola? If you're not going to put cocaine back in it, just stop. As far as I'm concerned, just stop. Stop. Have you tried the peach Coca-Cola?
Nope.
It is the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my entire life. I'd rather shoot myself in the face and lick the asshole out of a dead skunk than drink that shit. But that's the way I feel about cigarettes as well. I can tell you with 100% honesty, Jimmy, that once I, got that Halo system and I was hooked, I never tried a cigarette. Never did I want to try a cigarette afterwards.
I quit smoking from day one. As soon as I started
but they're saying
that first device, I never went back to smoking.
But they're saying that this is a gateway to smoking. Do you know anybody that started off vaping and was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get me a cigarette. How about you guys? You guys ever just decide you're going to go get? There's some other OG vapors that are in here now too, and it's a huge audience, ladies and gentlemen. 3. But it's okay because people watch afterwards. I want to just give you as much time as you want to get the word out because I don't think vape shop owners have that. They don't have that. And if we go down there, I'm sorry.
When we go down
October 1st, we're going down to Columbus. If they do decide to give us, hold on, let me get all on your scene. As soon as they do decide, if they do decide to give us any time, I think you said that the last one you heard of was 3 minutes. You were allowed to say if they let us talk.
Well, that's what they were doing in New York when they were doing it. I have no idea what.
Well, this is only an hour long by the flyer.
Yes,
we have an hour. So, I don't really think that if there is going to be, I think it's going to be more or less, representatives and stuff that'll be speaking for us.
And we're just making our presence known. We're showing up on the day that they're starting the taxes. Tons and tons of vape shops are taking their employees and shutting their shops down for the day to go in and have their voice heard. And
and if you guys are like really upset and you're up in arms, like, oh my God, I just called Jimmy and he said he's going to be closed on Tuesday. Yeah, it sucks, huh?
Come with us.
What if he's closed forever? Like that's what you need to weigh this against. It's 1 day versus forever. You need to come with us. We have a caravan going down. If anybody needs a ride, all you got to do is just post up and we'll pick you up and I got 3 seats open. If you guys want to come, you're more than welcome to come with me. I'm going down there. I will be broadcasting live. I won't have.
Please do. We need as many people that are behind us as we can.
Because it's folks, up to us.
Don't wait until the shit hits the fan and then go up in arms. We need you now, today, right now, calling your state representatives. We need you calling the state house, the White House. Like, we need everybody to engage. If you don't care enough to pick up the phone and call these people, don't be mad once it happens and the vape stores have started to disappear. I mean, you're already seeing what's happening in New York and Michigan. Hopefully something happens and it gets turned around and they figure out a way to, resolve this issue. But at this point, they're closing. They're closing left and right. I mean, go look at any store in New York right now. They are, they're putting them out of business. They can't sell them. I mean, Michigan, if you get caught with more than 3 bottles of juice, you're looking at 6 months in jail possibly and a $200 fine. And that goes up the more you have. The first, again, not that I support Juul, but the first 4-pack of Juul pods that you get caught with, you can technically be in trouble for it. Not that I think the police are going to actually, it's almost laughable. Out in Genoa, we have several police officers that shop, as do we have a couple here, but more out in Genoa. And they've already said, we've got better things to worry about. There's an opiate, epidemic going on. People are dying left and right. I mean, I just watched, you can watch in the news every day, thousands of people, it seems, that are dying from opiates. Like,
why aren't we putting the money towards that? Worried. Like, that's the thing. Okay, now, what about the bottom line for Jimmy Scheer and Infinite Vapor? Like, have you seen a decline? Like, how are you versus last year right now or the year before?
I'm down.
And
I'm down significant. I mean, we're not going to say the money, but at this point,
but you see the pinch though, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, the first that we've seen people, it dropping. Obviously, there's vape stores and there's stuff in every carryout gas station. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was to be expected. But from 2018 to 2019, it's dropped. But most of our sales drop has been in the last 6 to 8 weeks since this big, people getting sick from vaping. Whatever it was, we all know that it wasn't nicotine.
And there's people that have come out of their comas and said that. There's people that have come out of their comas and said, "No, look, no, it wasn't vape. I wasn't using traditional vape. I was using a THC card."
But their tactics are working. I mean, what they're doing is going to put us out of business. I'm doing everything I can to keep us open, mm-hmm. and I'm going to continue to do it until the bitter last moment, if that ever comes. But at this point, we're gonna continue to do us and try to get people off combustible cigarettes. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean,
no, there are you have to admit there are a lot of shops even here locally that they don't care either way which way this goes because they sell a bazillion other things that, yes. Besides this is just a little corner of their shelf versus the rest of their whole business.
They'll just wipe it. They'll just wipe it out, and it's going to turn essentially all the vape stores into smoke shops. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ones that decide, hey, I want to start carrying the glass and whatever to, keep my business. I'm here for vapor. And I mean, I will never sell tobacco. I will never sell cigarettes. You're never going to see that in my shop. Mm-hmm. I mean, we may have to do what we have to do to stay open and do what we have to, but I have zero intentions of, switching over and being some glorified bong shop. That's not us.
What do you think about what a lot of the people that are helping us, all the lobbyists talking about
We've
try
got
to
some
ban.
amazing
Yes, we do.
people on our side.
Yes, we do.
We've got amazing people between the VTA, Safada, Casa. There's a lot of people on our side that are making sense. And I feel in the last few weeks there's been a turnaround. I think a lot of the BS that's being spread is finally starting to show its face and show exactly what the problem is. But I mean, at this point, the damage is done, and we're going to have to, really pull out some stops to turn.
But that's the thing I like to tell a lot of people is all we need to do at this point is we need to hold them at bay. Because the truth is going to come out. If we can just hold them at bay and let the truth come out.
It's already out. It's just getting all the media to stop their bullshit.
But see, and that's the thing that I'm trying to do. That's why I do the show. Shell Hamill is one of the big, huge lobbyists for Safada. And I dealt with her a lot in Texas to the point where I actually went to one of my vape shows and I was supposed to, and my computer had taken a crap. And I was like, look, I'm not going to be able to do the show. I don't have a computer. She bought me a computer. And she paid for my hotel and everything to come down there because she knew what I was doing.
People that care.
Yeah, that's what the bottom line is. It's not the people like, oh well, fuck it, we're just going to have to start selling Cheetos, and Takis and stuff like that. Like people like you and like Missy, that this is their heart. This is you, and I know you have everything wrapped up in this. It's not like, oh well, we closed down. I'm just going to go work over at Jeep, because you can't just go over to Jeep. Right. This is a blue collar town, and people fight. And I remember when I came down and I seen your prices versus Texas, I was like, how can you do that? And I can see why, because there's nobody going to pay $27.50 for a 30 ml bottle of juice.
Not here.
You never did that. You never tried to rate people. I've watched you every time that I come in here, I watch somebody come in and be like, I'm a little bit short, and you work with them. And you just did it before we went on the show. A gentleman needed a device. You had a device that you could sell to him. That was the one that you previously had, and you got him right. And I don't see other shops I don't see Avail doing that. Avail isn't being like, oh, well, we can hook you up with something, or I'll give you a discount on this, that, and the other. Because who owns Avail?
At the end of the day, you're not going to make money on everything. It's not about the money for me.
And you're not. And if I'm not mistaken, you're not a millionaire and super rich because of vaping. No. That's what I think. A lot of people think, these shop owners, like, oh, you own a shop, oh, you must be a millionaire. No,
I'm just an everyday normal guy living my life, and I come to work every day. Believe me, if I was rich, I would have somebody else sitting in here instead of myself.
Exactly. And that's what I like, is that when people come in here and they buy stuff, they see you. They see Jimmy, the one that owns the shop.
I want it to be more personal.
And that's it. And I don't see you rush anybody. When you could have a line 10 long in here, and you're going to treat everybody like they're the only one in the room. You're going to make sure that they're taken care of. You're going to make sure they get the proper products that they need. You go through battery safety. You hand out cards for battery safety. You hand out cards for, everything that they need to know. So when they walk out, they're 100% certain that they're able to, use the device to their best ability.
A lot of vape shops are like that. I mean, that's the love that I have for the industry. I would say the majority of the vape shop owners, they care. I mean, I'm sure there's some that are just in for the money grab, but the average guy that owns a vape store, they're in here to help. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to help. And, if, we make money in the process, as long as we're paying our bills, we can pay our employees, we're making a little bit of money, we're not going anywhere.
Well, that's good to hear. That's really good to hear, because that's what we need to do, guys. We need to fight. And like I said, it's not up to Jimmy. It's not up to the vape shop owners. It's up to us. If you believe that this is something that's helped you badly,
we need you to speak up, tell your stories, do a video like Dave's doing right now. Go on YouTube, tell people where you started, how you started using tobacco, tell them the flavors that you used and how it's impacted your day-to-day life. But we need you guys to do it more now than ever. Without the consumer, the people that are walking in my store, without you guys, we are nothing. And we won't be. So
I would rather watch you close the doors, because we've helped every smoker.
Right.
That's the thing.
People on vaping their entire life. Like, we have a step down process. Anywhere from, I think our highest nicotine right now is probably 12. I think I may have a couple 18s, but I don't want you on that forever. We want to get you from the 18 to the 12 to the 6 to the 3 to the 0, and then I want to run into you at the grocery store and say, hey man, reach out your hand, shake my hand, and tell me how we've affected your life and got you off smoking, and you quit vaping. Like, that's the reason I don't want, I don't want to see your face ever again. I mean, that's our end game. With smoking, the end game's a grave. At least with vaping, we have an off ramp, but we do have zero nicotine. We have a way to get you off of the stuff.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit pause for a second because he has some customers. I think I can hit pause. I don't know if I can hit pause. Oh, well. We'll be back if I come back.
Maybe.